I had been hoping at some point to hear what my opponent thinks. In all honesty, I mean, I looked at his website and I didn't see any ideas there other than a feed of national issues. I looked at his Facebook page and all I could see really were where he's been out and about. I was very excited. I was at Northwest Chamber candidate roundtable earlier this week, and I thought I was finally going to hear some ideas from him, and really for the most part didn't. And I think that the failure to present those ideas ultimately speaks to me about the lack of creative thinking and ideas that he would bring to the floor. And I think that's what this district needs and what it has not been getting. It has not had a representative with ideas who's pushing them forward and doing what they can for the district and whose voice has not been heard. And that's really, I think, one of the key differences between myself and my opponent is I think there's a paucity of ideas on the other side of the table. And I don't think that he would be nearly as good an advocate as I would be for this district. So,
now, are there debates between you? Is that
I would have hoped, but as of this time, there have been no debates set. This candidates roundtable, I thought, would give us some of that,
Yes.
but that hasn't. Well, there just weren't the ideas presented.
Yeah, because that's one way, at least, when you're two people talking to one another, that you can ask, what do you think about this? What is your plan? What about our local budget, for example, in Litchfield? Now, he's been on the Board of Finance.
He's the town treasurer.
I'm sorry, the town treasurer.
Well, what's interesting about that is he's been the town treasurer for many, many years.
Now we're talking about Mr. Wilson, right?
Mr. Wilson. He's been the town treasurer, and he touts his ability with the financial end of things. But I would point out that Litchfield is, per capita, the 12th most indebted town in the state of Connecticut. So how someone who's allowed the town to get to that position and have gone from a place where the town essentially was in a pretty much a pay-as-you-go mode to where we are so debt encumbered, I don't think that speaks well for his ability to handle the issues in Hartford. We really need someone who can address those financial issues, and I don't think he's done it locally effectively, and I don't know whether he'd be able to do that effectively in Hartford.
Well, I think one of the best ways to judge an individual that's been in a position for all those years is looking at, what are the results? And you're saying our debt is, I didn't know it was that high. I mean, relative to other towns in the state.
It's over $4,000 per person
Really?
in the town of
Oh,
Litchfield.
goodness.
There's been a lot of bonding. When things wanted to get done, they just bonded. And now there's the talk of the new town hall again, and they're talking about bonding another $6 million. I mean, once again, we're just increasing the debt load that we would have to pay. It'll put us in the exact same position as the state, where a lot of our tax monies will be going to debt service rather than to paying for things as we go. And we just need to stop borrowing. And I never saw Mr. Wilson turn to Mr. Paul and say, you know what, we don't have money for $6 million bonding. It's enough. We have to stop borrowing. We have to pay down our debt, and we have to move forward. That's not what he's doing here, so I don't see it happening on the other side.